In April 2014, two young Dutch women, Kremers, 21, and Lisanne Froon, 22, vanished in the highlands near Boquete, Panama. They weren't thrill seekers, they were friends on a planned volunteer trip, learning Spanish, helping children, and exploring the country during their free time. What followed became one of the most haunting missing person cases of the last decade, not because of what was found, but because of what their phones recorded. On April 1st, the women set out for a daytime hike on the El Pianista Trail. By early evening, they hadn't returned. At 4:39 p.m, Kris's phone attempted an emergency call. Minutes later, Lisanne's phone did the same. The calls didn't connect, there was no signal. Those timestamps matter, because something had already gone wrong before nightfall. Over the next several days, the phones were turned on and off repeatedly, briefly, carefully, as if battery life was being conserved. No messages were sent, no calls connected. Lisanne's phone battery was exhausted after a few days. Kris's iPhone, however, continued to be powered on intermittently until April the 11th. Here is where the mystery deepens. From April the 5th onward, the phone was activated multiple times, but the correct PIN was never successfully entered again. What does that mean? One explanation is painfully human: injury, shock, exhaustion, cold, or failing coordination, a simple action becoming impossibly hard under stress. Another possibility, often raised online, is more disturbing: that someone else may have handled the phone. What matters for integrity is this: the phone data is real, the interpretation is not settled. Then there are the photographs. On April the 8th, roughly 90 flash photos were taken in the middle of the night. They show fragments of environment, rocks, foliage, darkness, and one image that appears to show the back of Kris's head. Some believe the photos were accidental, others believe they were deliberate, attempts to signal rescuers, light the surroundings, or document their location. Again, the evidence exists, the intent does not. Behind every phone activation is a moment we can't see. The hope when a screen lights up, the dread when there's still no signal, the reality of night in unfamiliar rainforest terrain, wet, steep, and unforgiving. This wasn't a puzzle, it was two people trying to survive. In June 2014, a backpack belonging to the women was turned in by a local resident near a river close to Alto Romero. Inside were both phones, the camera, and personal items, reportedly in usable condition. Later, scattered human remains were recovered and confirmed by DNA to belong to Kris and Lisanne. There were not enough remains to determine a definitive cause of death. Authorities ultimately suggested an accidental scenario, possibly becoming lost, followed by injury, or a fatal fall. But gaps remain. Evidence handling has been questioned, and years of online theory have filled the silence left by unanswered questions. When technology records fear, but not the final moment, how do we decide what's truth and what's theory? The phone activity doesn't prove one explanation, it proves something else entirely. That Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon fought to be found, that their experience was real, and that some stories remain unresolved, not because of myth, but because the truth never fully came back with them.